Most people that have watched SpongeBob are aware of the success that it spawned. I mean, come on, everyone knows SpongeBob. You, your mom's dad's only sister's brother's daughter, son and or daughter. But a much smaller portion of the viewers of the show are aware of the games. I, however, know all about the games. Most people that do know the games only think of Battle for Bikini Bottom as the only good one. But I would say that there are games just as or even better than that one in the SpongeBob franchise. One of those games is Creatures from the Krusty Krab, aka the game I will be talking about today. Before I talk about the game, let's take a look at the background. Creatures for the Krusty Krab was released in North America on 2006 for the PS2, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Wii, DS, and for Windows. It was released when the show was on its 4th season, right after show creator Steven Hillenburg left. God rest his soul. Because of him and other writers leaving the show shows a dip in quality. A dip down in quality, eventually getting worse until he came back in Season 9. As for whether that may carry on to the game, I won't know till I examine, though I'm sure the writers for the game and the show are separate. All of the voice actors from the show come back to the game for completely original lines. And seeing as how all the SpongeBob voice actors are living legends of the voice acting community, I think we're in for a good time. First, let's look at the menu and all the cool features that come with it. There's many cool features, like a video section, not where you watch cutscenes, but instead you can watch trailers for other Nick games, SpongeBob DVDs, and a SpongeBob Lego set. There's also a shop where you can buy art, music, costumes, and more. You can view the art and the music in the gallery, but the really cool things are stuff you can activate in the game. You can go to the menu where you can activate the costumes, vehicle skins, and other things. It's by far the coolest part of the game. Lastly, there's cheats. In the cheat menu, you can put in a code and unlock costumes and such. With that out of the way, let's get into the actual game. The game starts with SpongeBob falling asleep, as we get a close look into his dreams. We see him wake up in a cool, new, hot rod. He then drives to a racetrack that I guess just appeared outside his house. Then he does this for some reason. This is where you finally play the game, and the level opens up with racing. And, of course, it's not very good. But that's okay, because you start to leave the car, because SpongeBob lost his license. And then he has to find it so he can race again. Mrs. Puff guides you on how to play the game. And the game outside of the car controls fairly similarly to Battle of Bikini Bottom. But sometimes the jump can feel a bit heavy, and you'll die on some parts.
Put those pants of yours to work if you want to push that button.
Okay, is she allowed to say that?
Use the dash attack to push that spark block into its slot, and you'll find what it is you seek.
True eternal happiness? No, feel just as depressed as ever. Then you get your license back and race Patrick. Oh my god, what the hell is that? When you're racing Patrick, he'll drop these bombs that kind of stop you in your tracks, but really, there's no way you can lose the race. It's not even a race. It's just you getting to the end before time runs out. You don't even need to beat Patrick. You can just see the anger building inside his little sponge heart. So as you saw, Plankton wrecked your car. Now you gotta get out of the car, walk around again to find parts to fix your car.
Get those pants working, SpongeBob. Bounce the button.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
Please help! Once you get your parts, it's back to racing. And it's almost identical to Patrick's. Just some alternative paths open up. Are you freaking kidding me? So now you get out again, but you gotta get speed boost so you can beat Gary. Has Gary always been 4 times SpongeBob's size? Blah blah blah, you race Gary, beat him, watch a cutscene, then die. Nah, just kidding, he falls down a pit. Then it cuts to Patrick.
No! 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 Huh? Whoa, that was a strange dream.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled static with this urgent news.
Is it me, or does Patrick look even more deformed and detached than the previous one? So Patrick's level starts off with him waking up from a dream and then realizing that there's evil afoot. So he becomes Starfish Man to beat the dreaded Patrick.
Well, everything looks normal, except nothing looks the same as it used to.
Well, this level is just kind of SpongeBob's last level with a superhero aesthetic. And no driving. And he gets killed. Just kidding, he just went to space. The only other difference is that Patrick has a blow move. Overall, the level is very fun, but I don't want to waste too much time on it, because it's, like I said, same as SpongeBob's last level, just with a superhero aesthetic. But I will talk about the story of it. Starfish Man locates the evil, dreaded Patrick, and then fights his minions, then somehow gets on a rocket sent to space.
No! Yeah! Oh! That was a bizarre dream.
So bizarre that your mouth didn't even move when you said that.
Action. Critical growth stability will occur at a mass of 1.267 kilopatties.
But that's wrong! Too big! Why? How? But, yeah! There's only one thing to do, fight size with size! Karen, make me 100 times bigger!
Warning. Size modulation insufficient. Power failure imminent.
I'm huge! I'm gigantic! I'm fast! Huh? Morning! Well, it's still an improvement.
Plankton's level starts off with him finding a crumb of a Krabby Patty, so he enlarges it, but it's too big, and somehow becomes sentient, and speaks perfect English. Look, I don't know either. So Plankton makes himself bigger, but the machine messes up, and only makes him the size of a regular inhabitant of Bikini Bottom. So he resorts to running from the patty. The level itself is a 2.5D platformer. Plankton has a freeze ray to, well, you know, freeze things, and he can also temporarily freeze the patty, but eventually it'll just melt and start chasing you again. This is the point in the game where you start to realize just how great the music is. I mean, the previous tracks are great, but you'll really notice it here, because all you do is just run right and jump, and maybe freeze things.
Oh! Ha! That was a true nightmare! Luckily, I awake to find myself safe in my snug, warm... Aqua! Who stole the floor? Woo-hoo!
The next level consists of SpongeBob free-falling, then falling into a worm's mouth. While SpongeBob is free-falling, it can be hard to gauge what's gonna hit ya, but whatever, we're in the worm now, where a majority of the level takes place. It starts with SpongeBob landing next to a crashed plane and Old Man Jenkins, when he tells you that he can get us out of the worm if we find some parts. But first, we have to talk to a leader of a village that got eaten by the worm. Then when you find him, he asks you some personal questions.
Yes. Where do you live?
In a pineapple.
Under the sea!
He then leads you to an ironing board, which becomes the plane's wings. Before I get into the rest of the level's story, I want to get a little into the gameplay. The gameplay starts out really fun, but eventually gets really repetitive, because it's just spinning wheels, hitting machines, killing enemies, pounding buttons, and charging into spark plugs. Then rinse and repeat. I will say that by the end, it does get more intense, but that might just be the music contributing. Now back to the story. After you get the iron board, you'll talk to this inventor.
Creature stole my free jellyfish power cells!
Creatures? Wait. Then you need to find 3 jellyfish-powered things. I didn't know your machine ran on JPEGs. Then you get them all, he gives you something, then you fly. Right? No. Instead, you need to find out why the worm's so pissed. You find out that it's because of a can of chili. Oh my god. Those eyes. They're so dead. As if he's aware of his untimely demise.
Oh, it's no use! No one is gonna save us! We're trapped here forever!
Hark! I hear the sounds of trapped villagers. What are you doing down here?
We were sent to remove the blockage. It's a huge can of hot chili, but we were unable to remove it.
So dead, his voice changed. So of course, you as SpongeBob has to get rid of it. Once you do that, you can finally leave. I'd say that this level by far is the most long, most memorable, and my personal favorite.
What? Nothing bad is happening. No worms. No patties. No being strapped to a dumb space rocket traveling faster than the speed of thought!
It's you on a rocket flying through space. Very simple, but that's why it works. And Patrick's lines here are handled very well.
Black and it's a hole. I wonder what it could be.
I just love Patrick's model. The rocket needs fuel to fly. So you fly in a circle of motion while moving forward and move the analog stick to control the direction he goes. If you run out of fuel, you die. You can also shoot things, which is very satisfying to say the least. Once you complete the last set of levels, you make your way back down to Earth. And then eventually Bikini Bottom.
Phew! Another bad dream. Happily, all is normal. I'm fine. I'm in a great deal of trouble.
Good morning, Plankton!
Karen! No mistakes this time! Reroute power feeds B6 and K12.
Confirm. Please enjoy your new size.
Power! The absolute power! Who's your daddy now? Huh?
We are finally on to the second third of the game. And it starts off with Plankton's second and final level, which is a shame because all the other characters have at least one more level. As you saw, it opens with Plankton waking up in bed next to a Krabby Patty. Has Plankton always looked this wet and slimy? And elastic? Unlike last time, this time Plankton makes himself much bigger, then he starts rampaging on Bikini Bottom. So Plankton's level only has one goal, and that goal is destroy everything and everyone! Oh, and get that patty you were chasing before. So as a giant Plankton, you rampage on a terrified Bikini Bottom. You can punch, stomp, shoot a laser beam, and make tornadoes with your voice, I guess.
Dude, these 3D films are awesome.
Dude, these 3D models are awesome, my brother. It's not only a cool idea to have Plankton rampage on the town, but it's also very fun and well executed. Then Plankton makes his way to the patty, and then it cuts to SpongeBob.
We made it! Hey, is that Plankton?
Who's the patty now, Krabby Daddy?
Hey, Plankton, there's something different about you. New haircut? Wow, look out!
That's my Krabby Patty, you porous pest! Give it back!
SpongeBob's next level opens with him flying the plane out of the worm. With Old Man Jenkins, of course. You meet up with Plankton and the Krabby Patty gets away, so Plankton takes out his anger on you, SpongeBob. Then you play the level. It's more of Patrick's last level, just more intense, while also having a portion where the camera faces the front. Once you finish the level, it cuts over to Patrick.
How could I sleep at a time like this? Well, it must be a panic reflex, I guess. Yep, panic. Panic? Panic! Panicking! I'm panicking! Panic bug! SpongeBob! Oh no! What am I gonna do? Think! Nope, no thoughts today. Mermaid Man!
What's all the noise? I'm trying to nap.
I'm Starfish Man! Can we team up? Can we?
You then see Mermaid Man for some reason, but, I mean, that's okay, because then Patrick fights Plankton's minions on the rooftops. Every now and then Plankton appears, then you fight him on the rooftops.
Go for the hand, Starfish Man!
Is it me, or does Mermaid Man kind of sound like Bill Cosby?
My barbecue sauce. Haven't you ever noticed after people have some of my barbecue sauce?
Too soon? Yeah, too soon. Then you make your way to a rooftop with a shrink ray. Then you have one more intense battle with Plankton, then you shrink him. Then everyone falls on each other and wakes up from the dream.
And you say that you have been experiencing dreams, Dreams that are vivid and peculiar?
Yes, that is exactly it!
May I ask, what were you eating before you fell asleep?
Krabby Patty, I guess.
I love Krabby Patties!
I too indulged in a crumb, a mere morsel, mind you, of succulent Krabby Patty.
Well then, the circumstances are quite clear. The particular chemical composition of these Krabby Patties must have affected your unconscious biorhythms and so altered your dreams. This is not uncommon with the Krabby Patty snacks, especially late at night.
How do you know so much about Krabby Patties, Doctor?
Is it not obvious?
I am that Krabby Patty. If we ever want to wake from this living nightmare, I suggest we catch that Patty.
He's right! After that Krabby Patty!
Wait a minute. That guy wasn't a guy at all. Oh, he was the Krabby Patty!
As you saw, the Patty from before tells the three main characters that they're experiencing these horrible nightmares because they all ate Krabby Patties before they went to sleep. It is then revealed that only one character can make it out of that nightmare. Then the last level begins. When you finish the cutscene, a character selection pops up. You can pick between the three main characters to play the final level. So SpongeBob is unlocked from the start, but in order to play as Patrick and Plankton, you have to collect tokens that are shaped like them throughout all the levels, you know, respectively to their character. The level as SpongeBob is just racing cars, like in the first level. God damn it. The level as Patrick is just as rocket. The level as Plankton is this weird boat thing. Once you wake up, you realize the horrible truth. And that is... I don't know. Play for yourself. Just kidding, it was Gary's dream all along. Once you get all the endings, you find out how Gary got his dream. Then SpongeBob dies. But for real this time. Overall, this game is pretty fun, but sometimes it can get real repetitive. And when you take into consideration the models, and some of the levels themselves can get real boring and repetitive, it's less than perfect. But also when you take into consideration the voice acting, music, and level themes, it's very good. In the end, I would say that this game is not better than Battle for Bikini Bottom, but it's still a great game at the end of the day that I would recommend to anyone. So about 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this, and a massive thanks to developers for creating such a wonderful game. And the music in this video was from the game that I talked about, or Creatures from the Krusty Krab. Thank you once more, and see you next time. Hopefully.